get better. So now the Europeans have taken the first step of moving us towards the number 50 in terms of the bad cholesterol. And our goal is that at the end of the day, all of us, you should be able to get appropriate level. As we said, the cholesterol level is not one size fit all phenomena here. Based on who you are and the kind of medical conditions you have, determines what your cholesterol should be. And the cholesterol, as we've discussed, and if you need any of these CDs, you can contact our producer, and all these things are available. We can send the CDs or the DVDs to you, and you can listen to them. So the point that we're making over here, that you need to be able to understand here, is the fact that your cholesterol have different components of it. I'm not going to go into all the details. We'll come back and talk about cholesterol because of the emerging data that is out there. But the point here is the fact that your cholesterol is divided into bad cholesterol and good cholesterol and triglycerides. These are the major ones. And our goal is the total cholesterol is no longer what we are looking at. That is extremely oversimplistic, or oversimplified. What we are interested in is that ideally your good cholesterol as a man should be, right? It should be about 40, and for a woman, your good cholesterol should be 50, what you call the HDL. And then your bad cholesterol, which is LDL, now it should be based on who you are. If you've got narrowing of the blood vessels in your heart, that should be less than 50 by the Europeans. Americans will think about 70, but even in American guidelines, we now believe that the lower is better. At least when you start cholesterol medication, your goal is this: there should be 50% reduction in your cholesterol level. Let me advise somebody here. If you've never done this before, if you've never done this, please at least try to do it annually. For any person that is 40 years or older, for any person that is 18 years or older, in my opinion, that is how these things are. The recommendation, check these three things. Your sugar level, right? Your sugar level should be less than 100. I'm repeating this. Your sugar level, your fasting blood sugar level should be less than 100. That is very important. Then your blood pressure should be less than 130/80. And then the third thing that we'll talk about is your cholesterol. At least once a year. I'm repeating this. This is critical. If you've never checked it before, please check it once a year. They are the bedrock of ideal cardiovascular health, right? In terms of the disease manifestation, we don't want you to get a disease. And that is why we are saying that please check these three things: the cholesterol, the blood pressure, and the sugar. So then we come to what is that? There's a saying that prevention is better than what? Prevention is better than cure. But I like that saying, but I like this one. He said an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure, right? Why go through the pain, right? Because there are certain things, if you get them, it may be very difficult to come out of it. And that is why it is important. I've told you the three things to at least try and check them from the doctor's perspective. These are the three things I've talked. But how do you make sure that you don't end up getting them? The pillars, I intentionally reserve these two because the pillars are appropriate dieting activity. And the meaning of the word diet is not about the food you eat. It's change of lifestyle. And that is why I like that. It comes from a Greek word diet here. I've said it over and over and over, but I'm going to repeat that. Change in your lifestyle, because it is no longer the food that you eat, but it's how you eat. How you eat, what is in the food you eat. So that is why it's not just, you see, people think that the word dieting means fasting. I'm repeating this. It's not. That is not true. Dieting does not mean fasting. It's very, very important. So, and dieting does not mean what? Avoidance of food. I strongly believe in intermittent fasting. It is a powerful tool to control your weight and to ensure appropriate weight. We'll come back to obesity once more time and to discuss obesity in another forum. But you need to ensure that you have appropriate dieting pattern. So in summary, I tell people this, that each of us, you need to ensure that your food is high in low calorie and high glycemic index food. That is a very big term that I'm using, but let's make it simple. The food, when you eat them, it takes a long time for it to be able to release the sugars in them, because the food that releases the sugar very quickly are notorious for causing diabetes and causing sugar problems. So, for instance, I told you something that I ate today, which is pretty interesting, right? I mean, they prepared a spinach stew, and it's made up of what? It's made up of greens. That is very good, right? And this week, I was interested in eating spaghetti for a very long time. So I want to buy a spaghetti, and I realized that there is instead of the white flour spaghetti, there is a whole what? A whole wheat spaghetti. So I bought them and took it to my wife and I showed it to her. I said, look, I didn't know that we have a instead of the white flour spaghetti, there is one that is made up of wheat, right? A whole grain spaghetti. That is what was able to eat. So I have shifted that. Why is the whole grain spaghetti important? Because if you compare to the white flour spaghetti, the release of the sugars in that is much less. So your diet should be good. Your diet should be very, very high in vegetables. And I tell you, I told I told myself, I told somebody that this is good because that contains the vegetables. I eat salad a lot. But you don't need to eat salad to be able to eat vegetables, right? Because if you prepare tomato stew, that is vegetables that you've used to prepare. But if you buy the tomato that has been processed, it is full of salt. So you don't get that benefit. I am repeating this. Processed food. And if you want to listen to one thing, I told somebody this. Number one thing that you can do to avoid bad eating habits is stay away from processed food. Prepare your own food if you can. That is the secret of life. Healthy living in terms of dietary habits. Right? Because once it is processed, the only way they are able to keep it is to load it with a ton of water, of salt. You know, there are a lot of vegetable drinks out there. And the vegetable drinks, if you look at them, they contain a ton of salt in them. So let's make it simplistic. Number one, food that are high in terms of vegetables and fruits and nuts, and also the food, if in terms of your fat, olive liver oil, extra virgin olive liver oil is a fantastic fat out there, oil out there for you to be able to take. I strongly recommend that, and that is backed by data published in New England Journal that you and me can read. So that is a very important fact that we all need to know. The second thing about it is the fact that we have forgotten this, and I want to come back to it. Your goal is to eat what? Polyunsaturated what? Fats. Why am I saying polyunsaturated fat? You know, I recently went out, I took my children and my nephews out, and we went to eat in a restaurant. You know, and they brought us an omelette. On the omelette, there was I think cheese or something on it, and we could not eat it, and we took some of them home. I'm telling you this experience, it shocked me, right? It really shocked me. So the next day, they wanted to eat the food, and they went to heat the food in the microwave. Interestingly, the fat that was on it after heating in the microwave was not melted. And we always talk about this. The reason why we say these, you should avoid this palm oil, coconut oil, and other oil, especially which type of oil? The trans oils, that is the polyhydrogenated oil, is what it does in your heart. And at that table, whilst I was eating, I had my extra virgin oil. I always put extra virgin oil on my food. And I told them this, I can put this extra virgin oil into the fridge. It is not going to get what? It is not going to condense. Yet, the fat that was upon that omelette, after putting it into the microwave, it has still not melted. You know why this is dangerous? It is because this is exactly what it happens in your blood. When this type of fat goes into your blood, it settles over there like cement, and it's not coming out. And that is why the poly or the monosaturated oils, which are the vegetable oils, and the best of them all is extra virgin olive oil, which even in dark temperatures will not condense and stay in one place. Whereas, compare palm oil. Palm oil needs a few degrees down and it settles. The same thing with coconut oil. People seem to have an impression that coconut oil is healthy. I'm repeating this, and it's not coming from me. American Heart Association, they say that avoid it. I'm not giving a lecture on this, but I'm going this way too much. But it's very important. That experience that I had this week really taught me a lesson. And we have a whole tape, we have a whole DVD on this. And you can get this. People spend a lot of money. Instead of spending that money to eat too much of that, or the food that I talked about, right? That omelette tasted good though, but boy, I had regrets about it. So I'm going to be careful next time. And it shocked me that the oil on it, even after putting in the microwave, so we have to put it in back again. But I said, look, there is no way your body temperature is higher than that microwave. So if that thing goes into your body, sure as day follows night, it's not going to melt. And it's going to lay down as cement and narrow the blood vessels, leading to the things we don't want, like strokes and other things. And that is why you need to make sure. It taught me a lesson. It has taught me a big, big lesson. And that is why your goal in terms of dietary habits, once again, I said all these things are with our producer, and we should be able to get them to you. So I'm going to leave the physical exercise, which is the next thing that I will be talking about as we take a short commercial break. But before we go there, we left one thing, that is appropriate weight control. Oh, we can talk about obesity forever, right? And your goal is that your weight divided by your height should be less than 25 if you use meters and kilograms, and your waist circumference. You know, I tell the men there is no need for a man to be pregnant. So deliver all the babies that are in your tummy by getting one pack. My children wants me to get 6-pack, but the important thing is that it needs a jump from 1 pack to 6-pack, because you can have 2 packs. In America, there are people with 2 packs, 3 packs, and 4 packs. I don't want to give you the details of those packs. You need only 1 or 6-pack. These are the only 2 recommended ones. The best is a 6-pack if possible. But if it's not 6-pack, just one of them. So waist circumference, when we say weight, it's not where your belt is. Weight is your belly button. Your area around your belly button should be less than 40 inches for what? 40 inches for every man that is listening to me. These principles are very important. We'll go for a short commercial break, and then we'll come back and talk about the updates in terms of physical activities that was released in Europe, that is specifically in UK, which I believe that they only confirm some of the things that we've been talking about, and I believe that is going to do a lot of help to you. Please call a friend and call somebody to listen to this excellent program, which we believe it will go a long way to help you and your family. Don't touch that line. This has been Dr. Isaac Opoku Asare. I am an interventional cardiologist. This is Health Here.
Did you know your heart isn't only your most critical muscle, it's what keeps you alive? Your heart is about the size of a fist. It beats about 100,000 times each day and generally slows down as you age. I'm sure that you already know that depression, excessive sitting, smoking, lack of exercise, and a host of other things will generally increase the risk of a heart attack.
My name is Dr. Isaac Opoku Asare. I am an interventional cardiologist. Make a date with me on Tuesdays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. on Zoe Radio as we discuss how to keep your heart healthy. Call or send me your questions at 301-221-5727 during the show, and I'm ready to answer them.
Healthy Heart is proudly brought to you by Cardiovascular Solutions, a non-profit organization.
Welcome again. This is Dr. Isaac Opoku Asare, and thank you for joining me. I hope that you call some of your friends and other people, or you send them the message about this very important radio program that we've been doing. We're coming to you because we believe that it is making a change in my life and your life. So let us go to these principles that are very important. So I want to talk a little bit about physical activity. If we are not able to do that, next week we'll continue with the discussion on vein disease, which is very important to me. So, as I said, specifically yesterday, the UK released some its guidelines on exercise, and I believe that it incorporates many important things. So, why is that important? Because we've been talking about the fact that it is important that all of us, adults, when I say adults, that is anybody from the age of 18 up to the age of 64, and elderly is 65 and beyond. You should be able to have 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity. That is the recommendation. Moderate intensity activity. So when we say moderate intensity activity, what does it mean? Moderate intensity activity are activities like walking briskly, right? Or biking. So when you walk slowly, that is not considered moderate intensity activity. And you should be able to maintain a moderate intensity activity of 150 minutes per week, which translates into 30 minutes per day, 5 times in a week. Or vigorous activity, which is swimming, running, intensive biking. These are what vigorous activities of 75 minutes a week. So the people who can run for an hour or two, ideally 2 hours in a week, that may be all that you need. So these are principles that we've said over and over and over. And everybody, our goal is that you should be able to adhere to this. If you have the health to be able to undertake that, and you don't have any disability that impairs you from undertaking these things, it is important that you do that. But there are certain things that he talked about, which is important, which is that over the last 8 years, there is no doubt that exercise is important for everybody across the board. And even if you will not be able to achieve these exercises that we talked about, getting a little amount of exercise makes a difference. There is no threshold. I'm repeating this. And you can send in your questions. I'm here to answer these questions because some of the things that I'm going to talk about, they may be provocative, but it is very, very important. And the number is, I think the number is 301-221-5727. And you can send in your questions and I'm here to answer them. And I want to talk about these things because it's very important because of this release. Number one, the main principle is that no level of physical activity is too small. So even if you are not able to undertake the 150 minutes recommended moderate intensity exercise or 75 minutes of high intensity exercise, being able, I'm repeating this, being able to maintain activity in any form or level comes with a benefit. So, do your best to ensure that you will undertake that. I'm going to start with something that will surprise you. You see, they even went on to recommend, we do not recommend, it is not recommended that babies, they sleep on their tummies. That is not recommended. But to even for children less than 1 year, they went as far as to recommend that as part of physical activity, they should have tummy time of 30 minutes a day. That means that they even want babies to what? To exercise. And I love what they said. He said when you start the tummy time in the baby, it will be uncomfortable. But over time, they will get used to it. So that even babies, I'm repeating this, and you are not a baby, they are supposed to exercise for what? 30 minutes. And that is why we all have to do this. So they divided the activities for by age categories of less than 1 year to toddlers, and toddlers to preschool, and from preschool to teens, and then from teens to adults, and from adults to elderly. And the statement that they made across board is that there is nobody that does not need what? A physical activity. Even to the extent that babies, they are recommending one for babies to undertake. So, you have to undertake an exercise. You have to undertake a physical activity. The second thing that came out is the fact that physical activity is not only about physical well-being. And next week, I'm going to show you some diagrams that you can look at. Even though for those of you who watch us on Facebook, you can look at those diagrams to understand. Now, there is evidence that physical activities, it promotes mental health well-being. It promotes the brain, it brings brain health. It increases learning abilities in children. I'm repeating this. And it comes with social well-being. These are powerful benefits everybody needs. People who exercise have a better self-image than people who don't. So undertake one, please. You know, when I started this whole exercise, when I started talking about cardiovascular health, that's about 8 or 9 years ago, I remember. But now the evidence is it is compelling. They use the word, the benefits of exercise is compelling. And if you are somebody that does not do one, I strongly encourage you to do one. Very important. So, to the extent that they are even talking about these benefits extending to people in terms of prevention of dementia, exercise. You say I'm a Christian. I understand. I'm one too. And if you are not a Christian or anything, let me tell you this. Irrespective of your religion or anything, and I said it even happened to doctors, let alone you. So it is important, if they are recommending that babies must exercise, you must also do that. So the first principle is that everybody must find a form of exercise. And there is no threshold to exercise. Actually, specifically, they said this, that instead of people like us pushing that people should undertake 150 minutes, start with 10 minutes of exercise every day. 10 minutes. Don't make it complicated. Find a place that is 5 minutes away from your home and walk and come back. Swim, if you have the ability to do that. I love to swim, but I'm even going to take it up, because after reading this thing, I realized that if I can swim for 1 hour, 2 hours in a week, that would be my physical activity. And if you live in a community that has got heated pools, you can swim throughout the year. Playing tennis. I'm going to show you all these things. It's important. If you come back next week, we'll encourage you to invite somebody to watch us on Facebook. But hopefully we want you to watch us on our website, Zoe Light Radio website. We want you to ask somebody to log into our website and you're going to see it. That an activity like tennis, especially for the women, right? When women reach menopause, there is something we call osteoporosis. And it's coming from the weakening of the bones. And one of the things that strengthens bone health, that makes your bone better, is physical activities. And racket sports, that is playing of tennis, is a very, very good sport to strengthen your bones. I'm repeating this for the women. So that I'm not going to criticize any exercise here or there. But there is a lot of people that put money into certain exercise out there that does nothing in terms of your bone health. Because some of the things that we say, some of the things are good. It is good to do Tai Chi. Tai Chi may help in the brain function, but it does nothing for bone health. And most forms of yogas are also like that. But every exercise does something. So, whereas those exercise may improve, I don't know what they may improve, but they may have some benefit. But in terms of heart health, in terms of bone health, one of the things that you need to do, let me take back here. One of the things you need to do for your bone health is racket sports. Racket sports can increase your bone health big time. Lifting of weights. You know, I've been talking a lot about aerobic exercise, walking, running, swimming. But even the guidelines, and even for people with heart failure, I'm repeating this, even for people with heart failure, we now know that aerobic exercise is not enough. But bone strengthening exercise, which is lifting of weights, a little amount of lifting of weights can help. You know, I was surprised how very simple things we do, and we have abandoned them. They are working against us. You know, when we go to shopping, I'm going to tell you this. They put in the guidelines, one of the bone strengthening exercise activity that you can undertake is to carry your shopping. I didn't believe this. Because what we tend to do sometimes is that we ignore all these things. If you go shopping, and after the shopping, you can carry your shopping to your car. Take it out and carry it to your car. Do you know the benefits of it? You are strengthening your bones. So these little activities, they may help. So number one, I'm going back to it, that there is no level of physical activity that does not help. So even 10 minutes of physical activity a day will make a difference for you. Ideally, we want you to achieve the 150 that we're looking at. But the 150 that we talked about, it is about aerobic exercise. But we'll strongly encourage that you add bone strengthening activity, which is either racket sports or either weightlifting. Every form of lifting, if you are healthy enough, holding them and lifting them will also strengthen your bones if you have the health to be able to do that. So I tell people that if you are going to the shopping, don't park close, park far, and carry your things to the car. In so doing, you are building your muscles, and that is going to help you. Why pay money for all the gym if you can do your gym whilst you are shopping? You get two advantages, right? So they added it to it. Some of the things that they added is gardening. If you can do gardening, do it. It's a form of good physical activity that will help you. So whereas we spend a lot of money on buying expensive protein shakes and all those things, my ancestors and your ancestors, they never did those things. Yet some of them lived. The one that I was named after, he will live to be 104. And I'm trusting the Lord that I will live up to that age. That guy never saw a doctor, but I can tell you this, he walked everywhere. And he ate food from his farm. Yet he grew to be 104 without taking a single medication. What does it tell you? God has given us everything we need for life. Yet we have abandoned these principles, the primitive principles. You may call them primitive, but those things that we've abandoned, we have broken the natural laws. And that's what has opened the door for many diseases in us. Right? Where you are supposed to carry, you have the trolley, and that's why you're carrying your things. It is not, I'm not condemning that, because sometimes the things are too many. When my wife sends me for shopping, that's the project. I understand that. If I carry those things, I may fall down. That is why I don't carry them. But when I bring them home, I have to carry them. And by carrying the milk and other things, I believe that it's strengthening my bones now. So I'm going to do them more. So, every form of exercise, even the minimum, is important. Aerobic exercise of 150 minutes or vigorous exercise of 75 minutes is important. Now, bone strengthening exercises are important. So, and especially for the women, I'm repeating this because once you enter the zone of menopause, right, the bones of women tend to be weak, and engaging yourself in physical activities that I talked about, bone strengthening exercise, will prevent you from taking the extra medications that you are taking. So this is very, very important for all of us. So let us go on to the thing that they talked about. They also talked about the fact that short periods of high intensity activities, is also very good. Actually, this is what I have been doing. This is what I have done for the last 7 years. I don't go to a gym. I'm telling you, I have never been to a gym. I've got a treadmill at my home. But one of the bedrock of my physical activity is what they call a HIIT. Now there's a terminology. I've been doing this for a long time. I did not know that there is a terminology for it, but now it's been published. The name HIIT is high intensity interval training. So what is high intensity interval training? One of them is climbing stairs. Climbing stairs. You see, if you are young enough, have allergy to what? Elevators. There are some of us, they take elevator from the first floor to the second floor. If you can walk, please. Every day you undertake that. So if anybody that knows me at my workplace in the university knows that to the best of my ability, I do not take elevators. And what I do every day when I'm at work is at least to move from the first floor or the basement to the third floor. That gives you a high intensity activity within a short period of time. So if you undertake that high intensity activity followed by a period of rest and undertake another one again, it is as powerful as all the other things that we're talking about. You know what? It is cheap. All the money that I have to pay for the gym, for the treadmill, I tell you this, the treadmill in most homes, they put towels on them now. They put towels and they hang things on them. Yes, I'm telling you the truth. But if you can adopt HIIT, short periods of high intensity activity, that is all. Now I understand. I have done this for such a long time. I didn't know. And I've been telling people, now I know. Climbing stairs, if you are healthy enough, the young people, please do. Right? My daughter came from school and she said, Daddy, I'm hurting. And I said, what happened? And they said, work for physical activity. And the man made us run. And he said, this trainer, he made us move too much. And he started complaining. I said, girl, you know the definition, we call it deconditioning. If your muscles were conditioned for that form of exercise, you wouldn't have been complaining. And I told her, if you will take my advice, try to, whilst you are hurting, try to continue the exercise. She listened to my advice and she started undertaking more exercise. And now she went for the same exercise and she came back and she was not complaining. Telling you that starting something is not easy. And that's why I said it is not easy for me to take the stairs from the basement to the third floor. And for the young people, some of them are probably 20 years older than me. And some of them are, I know that most of them are a minimum of 10 years to 50 years older than me. But by the time we get to the third floor, they are huffing and puffing. Whereas because I've done this for such a long time, it helps. So the name that they give to it is HIIT, H-I-I-T, high intensity interval training. It has now finally been incorporated in a guideline around the world. So we now know why. All the people of old who lived for a long time, yet they did not need to take all the medications we need to take. It is because their lifestyle were lifestyles that naturally prevented disease. You know, there is this man, I want to end with this story. I can go on and go on because I'm really fired up after reading these guidelines. And it tells you that you have to undertake. Let me tell you, they talked about the fact that sedentary lifestyle, that means sitting, reclining, lying down, is associated with increased death, increased heart death, and almost everything that is bad. And they strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that if you can, avoid sedentary activities as much as you can. They say this: do your best to break your sitting activity as much as possible by just going out to work for a short time and coming back. If you have a break, take the break, walk out there and come back. I am not saying it, because every form of physical activity comes with physical health benefits, mental health benefits, social well-being. That will help you. Things I'm able to do now, I was not able to do them 9 or 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I couldn't go up the stairs even 3 floors. I remember one day I went up the stairs, I almost felt like passing out. But I decided to continue. And now here am I talking to you about HIIT. Something that I realized that it's equivalent to any other thing that you spend your money on. And that has been very helpful. So let me tell you a story here of a man that I met about a year ago. And he said, I don't believe in medicines. I want to undertake naturals. And I said, oh, nice, buddy. It is very good to do natural. And he said he's doing natural. And I said, what is the meaning of natural? And he said, yeah, trying to eat herbs and all those things. I said, no. I'm telling you, natural is nothing about herbs. I'm repeating this. And I asked him, how many times do you walk? He said, none. I said, none? Then that is not natural. You want to understand natural. Natural means walking. Natural does not mean driving. Right? He doesn't walk. And he's telling me natural. His blood pressure was 180 over 120. And he says, I do natural. You know the definition of natural is what the great grandperson that I was named after did. He walked everywhere if he could. Of course, we have cars and other things. But he walked while he can. I tell people. So I asked him again, so what does natural mean? And so what do you mean by natural in terms of what you eat? He said, I tried to get some herbs here. I said, no. You know, natural means this. Your grandfather and grandmother, they never ate processed food. They got the same potato that you eat it as fried. They got the potato and prepared it at home. There was not a single trans oil, which is hydrogenated oil, which even the microwave cannot warm. The microwave cannot melt. They did not eat one of them. So I told him, meanwhile, all the fast foods in the country, you know them. We know the fast food in our area sometimes more than what? Our relatives, where they live. So I told him, you know what natural means? Natural means preparing your own food and avoiding processed food. I'm defining natural for you to understand. Walking, physical activity. Eating as much unprocessed food as possible. I said, there was nothing like a sausage that my grandfather ate. There's nothing like that. They ate the meat raw, and that's why it was good. Right? So, at the end of the discussion, I said, I am a firm believer in natural as you are. The only difference between you and me is this. You have natural in your mind and you never practice it. But I am trusting that for you to get the benefits, you are going to practice the natural. by undertaking the physical activities that we talked about and eating appropriately, so that you'll be able to achieve these things that we're talking about: a physical well-being, an emotional well-being, and a good mental health, which we all need, and it's our God-given rights. And that is why God has given us this message. And that's why God has given us this knowledge. Thank you very much for joining me. It's been an exciting time with you. This has been Dr. Isaac Opoku Asare, and this has been Healthy Heart. Thank you all, and big thanks to my producer, Reverend Simpson, for the awesome work that he does week in and week out. Thank you and good night. Practice natural. Don't get it in your head. Good night.
Did you know your heart isn't only your most critical muscle, it's what keeps you alive? Your heart is about the size of a fist. It beats about 100,000 times each day and generally slows down as you age. I'm sure that you already know that depression, excessive sitting, smoking, lack of exercise, and a host of other things will generally increase the risk of a heart attack.
My name is Dr. Isaac Opoku Asare. I am an interventional cardiologist. Make a date with me on Tuesdays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. on Zoyolite Radio as we discuss how to keep your heart healthy. Call or send me your questions at 301-221-5727 during the show, and I'm ready to answer them.
Healthy Heart is proudly brought to you by Cardiovascular Solutions, a non-profit organization